Hey, you guys. Mansardo from Sports Talk, Florida. For those people who have been there, what's the difference between Super Bowl week and Hall H and Comic-Con?
Yeah, I've been in both. And I'm not in the Super Bowl, but I know when I was playing in the NFL, Super Bowl week it's in sports and entertainment, it's really the same. It's really, I mean, there's so much at stake for everyone involved, and that's pretty much my best way to put it.
Any more questions? Guys, go ahead, Kevin.
Can I get that for my mom? She's gonna want that. I just know.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think that non-football fans will be interested in this movie because they're, after screening it myself, it's a good movie. It's not just a good football movie. Jennifer, what do you think?
It just isn't exclusive to the people who understand the world. I think Field of Dreams opened the door for, it's not just a man's movie, a boy wanting to play catch with his dad, things gone unspoken. I think a movie's requirement that it has to work. And I think there's a good girl-boy element. There has to be the relationship that Dennis and I have. And for people who don't know sports, when you actually watch what Chadwick does at the end of the movie, there's a lot of athletic arrogance that comes with a person who's going to be the number one pick. You don't get there by mistake. You have to have the physical tools. But what's good about the movie is it sets up his history. He's taken care of, his grandmother has raised him. He's now taking care of her. He takes care of kids. And whatever arrogance he has, being clearly in his own mind, you know, one of the better players in the country, when he's absolutely selected, it changes his life. And while the whole room is going crazy, Chadwick's character weeps, just weeps. And so that is something that anybody can understand, having their dream come true. And that's why this movie crosses over.
We've shown the film. Obviously, you test movies when you make them, see how they work, see if people understand them, if you've made mistakes that need to be corrected. And then you do a survey at the end of it. And the great news for us is that, in fact, people who knew nothing about football scored the movie virtually the same as people who knew a lot about football, and it was very high. And because finally this is an emotional film. It's, yes, there's funny things in it, and there's lots of cool stuff about football, and there's this wonderful behind-the-scenes world that we never get to see, really, particularly about the draft. And most importantly, it's a story of, you know, these rookies, these potential draftees that are coming in who spent their entire lives trying to be football players, somehow dreaming that one day they're going to get to play in the NFL, and most of them don't. And the tension that's put on them, the pressure, and the emotionality of that moment is something that we can all understand.
I'm curious if you guys learned anything that you didn't already know. I haven't shared some of it. Dennis, is there a colorful anecdote you can share with us, that something you learned maybe in Cleveland, or?
Oh boy, something I learned in Cleveland.
You said colorful.
Yeah, colorful.
Stopped him, I think.
Yeah.
Let him cook it up. Hang on.
I gotta admit, I kind of spaced out for a second, and I was, huh?
No.
Oh no, we could tell that story. Yeah.
Oh boy.
No, we could tell that story. In the script, there's in the movie. Do you want me to tell that? Like, is it giving anything away if I say that? No. Oh, okay. In the script, there was a plant of some money in a playbook, and it's part of the plot of the movie. If you haven't seen it, where they can tell whether a draft pick or potential draft pick has actually read the playbook by virtue of the fact that he would find the money and say, hey, it was, you know, $100 in the back page or the last page or somewhere in that playbook. And so when I was doing I think it's a great device that is used to discover who's actually paying attention and who's not. I gave the script to Bill Belichick, a long story short, because I was using him as a research touchstone for the coach's part before we started shooting. And he came back and he had some notes about this is great, this is real, this would never happen, this, you know, it's stuff that you would expect. But the one thing he said was, who the fuck came up with that $100 playbook thing? And I said, I don't know, it was in the script, one of the guys wrote it. He's like, that's my thing, I used to do that. And I was like, of course you did, you know what I mean? But so it was, you know, these guys really did their research, these writers, man. It really, when we read the script, I know for me especially, when I read it, I felt like, okay, this feels like there's a lot of real football stuff here. And when I checked with Belichick, there was very little that he didn't find that rang true or that he didn't find had been done or an envelope might have been able to be pushed here and there, but most of the stuff was played very real, you know?
I heard that Florida State screened the movie the night before the national championship game. Is that true?
Thank God they won. Yeah, Jimbo Fisher actually asked if they could show it to the team as their team activity on the Saturday night before the game. So it was a little more than the night before. And and they loved the film. The kids were really watched it with rapt attention. And the wonderful thing for me was we got a call from him after the game, after the movie, excuse me, and he said, you know, what's great about the film is that it's really about character, and that character counts, that it's not just the skill, that the NFL really is looking, and I get calls, he said, from all the NFL coaches to find out about my various kids' character and what they're really like, and that lesson sort of really fell hard on all the sort of kids who watch it. And so